Micromega has two announcements to make, and company CEO Greg Morris is here to talk to us exclusively to tell us what's happening. Good morning to you, Greg. In the education and training field, you've got two acquisitions. So since last you were in, this is news. What difference does, well, firstly, they're in education and training, so what are they? And how does this fit into the business model of what you're doing already?
David, quite simply, we've been in training for some time, and the vertical we've been executing that in is within NOSA, the occupational health and safety business, where if one looks with retrospect of the last 12 months, we've done domestic training in the order of 42,000 candidates. The recent acquisition of Action Training Academy is complementary to the service offering of NOSA. It's really in the first aid, fire risk management area, and some entry-level courses on HSE, health, safety and environmental services. And that business also with retrospect brings another 22,000 candidates of training to the party. So we're looking forward at the next 12 months to approximately 70,000 students going through our facilities. We've got 29 of them countrywide and classroom-based. So that's been a step in the right direction to bring the critical mass and also expand the client base and the client offering. So that was a very well molded transaction, very complementary, well-established businesses, and got the credibility that NOSA's got. Then the second transaction is one really going towards the education area. But education and training are not very similar. They might sound similar, but they are very different. And so when it came to the education opportunity, which was really stimulated by the fact that from the occupational health and safety perspective, we've come through with a diploma which we're putting through accreditation, and the need for longer courses and what I call career development education rather than skills development education. So we're looking at career upliftment on extended education. That's been coming at us quite aggressively through the occupational health and safety business, right from board levels down. So we had a look at the education, but what we've done with this particular transaction, because of our risk-averse attitude to transactions, is what we've done is we've agreed to fund this business for 12 months on the basis that if we like what it looks like at the end of 12 months, we can pull an option to take up 51% of the equity in it. If it turns out that in fact we can't see the visibility and growth and earnings that we would like to see from it, then in fact the debt would be repaid and we would walk away from the transaction.
Greg, perhaps give us the numbers. You mentioned two transactions. How much was the first one for? Second one, how much was that for, and how did you fund this?
To be sure, the first transaction was in the order of 30-odd million rand for ATA. The second transaction is a geared transaction where we're funding it. So the ongoing funding there I would anticipate to not be more than 10 million rand. At this stage, the initial tranche is going to be 6, but I anticipate not more than 10 over the life cycle. Funding, we're very liquid. We're a cash-generative business, and we're actually looking for opportunities to invest our capital at the moment. So, as far as Micromega goes in the bigger picture, there's going to be a flutter of transactions coming. That's part of what we committed to the market, and you might have seen in our profit warning, for what a better description, we had to put out our trading statement. We had to put out. We're about to put interims out shortly, and there we're committed to 70-odd% in earnings growth for the first 6 months. And to keep those numbers up, you have to plug and play as well through transactions. So yes, we've got the capital, and we're trying to look for places to invest it.
Yeah, can we look forward to any transactions? I mean, you do say that you are looking for opportunities. Anything that you can talk about at the moment?
Nothing I can talk about. Safe to say that it's been an ongoing project of last for the year.
Yeah, we
tell us.
Safe space.
It's I think if we look back on the announcements that we've been putting out since October, November last year, one's seen a combination of organic growth, diversification into new areas of business, as well as plug and plays, as we call them, in Micromega acquisitions that are well suited to the verticals we're in.
Now, the other aspect, last time you came in, you told us about the Sharks sponsorship. Not the major sponsor, because they're known as the Cell C Sharks, but I do see your name on their jersey, being a Sharks supporter. Unfortunately for you, they didn't make the final, but it's been a good sponsorship for you?
It's been fantastic. It's certainly it's achieved everything we want to do, which was get Micromega, the brand, on the radar and get some visibility out there as to who we are and what we're all about. So these things are always difficult to quantify in economic terms. Having said that, certainly one looks at hit rates on websites, one looks at inquiries, one looks at the relationships you have with various clients, the market penetration into certain areas, and the reception one receives, and the reference point to the Sharks sponsorship always seems to float to the top when one's sitting around the table. So that's been very good for us, and we've recently extended that for a further 2 years. A month ago we decided to exercise our option. So we're delighted. I mean,
How much is it worth? That, I mean, what are you paying for it?
We paid. It was an inflationary increase, and if I'm not incorrect in saying this, I think it was about 2.3 million, if I remember correctly. So it's an increase on that, and then an additional increase in a year's time. So it's not of the magnitude of the primary sponsors.
Greg, you say it's difficult to quantify, so you look at certain things like web hits and so forth, but how do you decide on a specific club to go and sponsor? I mean, I'm asking this because I'm a Blue Bull supporter and I'm wondering why that didn't come up.
Yeah, why the Sharks?
Okay, a couple of reasons. I think one of the reasons is a lot of us are from Natal, including myself, and we have a very large presence down there. And I think secondly, it was opportunistic. The opportunity came to us, and these opportunities don't come from all the clubs. Although I must say in the last year, I think there's been a scramble for sponsorship, and it's been tough times for all the clubs. But the Sharks, you know, we know the chaps down there. We've got a long-standing relationship with the executive of the Sharks, and I suppose it was a natural fit for us. And it's a great team. I mean, we've had Super 15 was perhaps disappointing. Currie Cup, well, one can never tell till the dying moments, but that's where we are.
Yeah, they've had some management turnover, Jake White leaving and that, but this is what happens in sport as a business. Thanks to Greg Morris, he's CEO of Micromega.